Alrighty, folks, and welcome everybody to my channel. We are going to put the lights on, and hopefully, I can get you up to speed with certain things. Right now, it's 10:35, so let's see what we can do. All right, let's take a look. All right, all right, here we go. It looks much better now. God, yeah, 10:35. Oh, folks, I'm exhausted, but excuse me. I get all this unnecessary shit off the road. God, let me get everything positioned, situated. All right. Um, so it's 10:35 p.m. and it is, what is it? Saturday? Yeah, it's Saturday. Actually, no, it's Friday. Friday 10:35. Friday 10:35 p.m. Um, anyway, um, quickly we're gonna discuss what my plans are for my BMS, and also um, see if the kickstand is going to be an issue. Tomorrow, hopefully, we're going to lubricate the chassis, lubricate the bearings, kind of work around few spots that are rusted that I want to address. Um, Today's a little bit too late to be going through tools and doing things outside because neighbors here, neighbors there. It's like you are shit out of luck when you live in New York City because you always got some sort of neighbors, right? This one is bitchy, this one is bitchy. It's like everybody's upside the head, you know, a little bit backwards. Anyway, so what's the news with the BMS? So as you know, this battery has a 50 amp BMS. I reached out to a seller and they were nice enough to um, kind of get back to me and say, look, you can't put 100, you can't put 150. However, you could do an 80. So an 80 is roughly what, 7,000 watts. I'm pushing right now about 56, so I'll be pushing about 76. Um, Now I don't know how that's going to uh, work out with the battery, if it's going to put any stress on the battery or not. So that's for us to find out. Um, I was hoping for a BMS that is plug and play. So here is a problem, right? Here is my dilemma. In order for me to get a passable plug and play BMS, I would have to open this battery up and take pictures of all the balancing wires and see if the seller has the plug and play BMS, not at 50 amp but at 80 amp. And if I decide to open the battery, uh, the BMS is on the top of the battery. That's where it's installed. It's not on the side. Obviously, it's not at the bottom. It's on the top of the battery where you have the cardboard. And well, it's not cardboard, it's kind of a plasticky paper, which is fireproof. And then it has the BMS. Then since it's 20S, it's a A124 cell. So it's a rectangle cell. It's got a plus, minus, got like kind of like two nipples sticking out, and it's just the rectangle, kind of like a leaf. And I believe there are 3.4 volts multiplied by 20 cells. That gives us 84 volts. Um, so since the BMS right now is 50, um, they do sell same battery, a little bit different measurements. It's a little bit wider uh, with 80 amps, and it is 72 volts, top cell voltage at 84, and It sells with 80 amp BMS. It is considered for a 5,000 watt bike, where the one that I bought is, I believe, 3,500. So this motor is actually a 5,000 watt. So originally the controller is 80 amp. The battery should be 80 amp at least. I mean, hypothetically, if we were to purchase uh, a battery with, let's say, 150 amps, but the controller was only given 100, that's pretty much what I would get out of the controller and the battery. So kind of sucks. But originally I was aiming for the battery from China. That never happened. And of course, that video is in my YouTube library, so check that out. And I ended up getting this one for a couple $100. And unfortunately, at that uh, time when I purchased the battery, it's they only had available 50 amp BMS in the battery. So the question is, and I want you guys to comment down below, please. It's helpful when you guys comment under the videos. Should I go the extra mile, take the tab battery apart? Now it's in the rubber heat shrink, so pretty much I would have to cut four corners with scissors, pull it back, take the paper, plastic, whatever, the fireproof cover out, take pictures of the BMS, email it back to the seller, and he's going to confirm with China seller whether they have that BMS. They do have um, the both BMSs, the 50 and the 80. The question here right now is, in my situation, whether it's going to be plug and play, or am I going to have to do additional steps? So my goal is to do plug and play. Now, again, comment down below and correct me if I'm wrong, that BMS comes with uh, positive wires and negative wires, and which is load and charge. And I think it has to be soldered. But what I really think is that I can cut the negative wires and the positive wires further away from the battery and solder the BMS into it. So I can solder existing wires onto the wires of a new BMS. So what am I saying? If let's say um, if obviously there got to be wires coming from the battery into the BMS, right? So it should be black and red. Okay, so the black will go into a negative, and the red will obviously go to a positive, and then move forward into a controller battery. Um, so it's not really difficult because the balancing wires, it only go by cells. So in my situation, I have 20 cells. So that'd be 21 wires, because there will be 20 cells and one black wire, which is the negative, that kind of like starts up the entire BMS, right? Um, saying that, I want you guys to give me your input of, do you think I should go that extra mile and take the battery out of this bike, take the battery out of the belly, and cut it open? Not, like I said, not the whole entire thing, just the top. I mean, it's an easy procedure. Now, question is, of course, there are questions. There are the pros and cons, right? Um, if I put 80 amp BMS, is my distance going to deplete? Because we know power is not going to be depleted. Uh, I'm going to get more power and more speed. Now, I'm thinking I'll probably get like 56 miles an hour, where right now I'm getting at 50. So I get about 56, slightly with no wind. I'll probably get 60, a little bit down the hill, I get the 60. Um, Mind you, I'm heavy dude. So 250 pounds. It's got its way to pull. But the whole thing is with the BMS. Do I leap over, the cliff, and do I take that chance in the middle or somewhat beginning of the season, and do I take that chance and cause kind of cause a possibility of not necessarily failure, but kind of downtime in a season where I have a battery that is not working. Now let's say everything goes smooth. Let's say I install the BMS, the 80 amp, I put it into the bike, but there's a hiccup, and that hiccup is on the road. Now, of course, when you put a new system, which is your BMS, what I would do, I would definitely test it out. I'll do my wrench, make sure that my motor's not overheating. But what if, the motor's overheating? But then on the other hand, this motor is for 80 amp BMS, and I'm only pushing 50. So the calculation matches the motor, 80 amps uh, on the controller. That's 5,000 watts, 5,000 watts on the motor. That means that the motor pretty much could go all day long at maximum operation of 5,000 watts. Now, um, whether the manufacturers will say, well, it's 5,000, no more, no less, I doubt it, because I believe that, like always, there's a peak on the motor. So I looked up this 100 amp peak on the BMS here, and that 100 amp peak only lasts for 3 seconds burst. I'm not sure when it gets activated. I believe it's from dead stop to trigger and throttle on. So that only gives me 3 seconds, 100 amps, right? I never seen, well, probably that's when I'm hitting the 50, 800 watts when I kick that throttle. Um, so again, if they rate this at 5,000 and 84 volts multiply by 80 amps, it gives me a higher number than 5,000. So by the time the battery depletes to let's say 78 or 80 volts, it might take a little while. However, we do have power sag where the bike would be sitting at 80, 84.7, and it will sag all the way to, let's say, 80 volts. So really, the bike is never at steady 84 volts continuously, because the minute I press the throttle, the bike goes and uses juice. So I personally don't see a problem. The only one problem, and it's not really a problem, it's kind of it discouraged to me, because I have to, it's a pain in the ass. I got to take out the batteries, I got to remove all these screws. Let's say, fine, no problem. But then I got to open up the battery, right? So I can open up the battery, use a black Gorilla tape, and re-shrink it. And it's totally fine, not a big deal. Now, but it's always, as the old say, it's easy to say than it's done, and it's true, because there could be lots of things going wrong. But all I have to do is open the battery, expose the BMS wires, the balance wires, and take pictures. Now, in this situation, I would take pictures of, the load wires and the charger wires, and, pretty much everything that is around and near the BMS. So when I send the pictures to the seller, he is going to say, okay, well, we have, this BMS, and we're going to send it out to you. The price on a BMS is about $63, so it's not really that expensive. Um, it's not famous or well-known brand BMS, but that's the one he uses. I probably would be able to get away with murder and put a different BMS at 100. I don't know why they don't have 100 or 150. I don't know if this battery will be able to discharge correctly at, let's say, 100 or 150 amps, um, I believe it is going to, because the description and the promises that the website makes on these batteries is pretty solid. And again, you can look up, I believe it's BitRite Power battery. They have a website. You can Google it. You can check it out. And they do have on their website 80 amp and a 50 amp battery. And if you guys were purchasing new batteries, I would go with the 80. I believe that if I would have gone with the 80, that battery wouldn't fit in this belly. Would have to be wider. So I really can't go wider. I can go longer here on the top. I can pretty much eliminate this metal piece and extend the battery this way, like a motorcycle tank, gas tank. So there's different ways, possibilities of me creating my own design. And that's the goal. Hopefully it will be a 90, 96-volt battery at 100 amps. Right now there is a battery that fits this bike really well. And it's kind of like a kind of shape of a triangle mixed with a rectangle. And it sits very nicely. It goes all the way from the beginning this way. It just cut like kind of like a triangle. Long story short, it's a 70 amp hour battery at a discharge of 150 amps. It is a beast, and it is only $1,100. I don't know how good it is, but I already talked about the technology with batteries, in 2022 and 2023. That um, first of all, China is the pioneer of making batteries. They have made batteries and electric bikes many, many, many years ago, because their country is so crowded that not everybody is able to drive a car or afford a car. Mind you, that they can't even feed their own population to begin with. So that's kind of like an issue. But whatever battery you're gonna buy from China, it's to me it's gonna perform great, because if you can discharge the battery at 150 amps for, let's say, even 300 cycles, that is a great battery. And it also depends how you take care of your battery, regardless. Even though I have the bike outside, the minute it gets below 50, I don't ride the bike because it's too cold regularly. Um, I go around the stores, I go to the gym, and so on and so forth, just to get the battery going, charge and discharge, and of course have fun using my bike. However, like in a winter, the minute it goes to like 30, 33 degrees, there's no way. I never waited that long. Usually at 40, um, I would keep the battery inside. Even already at 50 and 45, I would kind of like hesitate to have the battery out for so long, because there's no reason for the battery to be sitting outside when it's 45 or 40 or 33 degrees outside. Um, that's how you fail to maintain your bike. Um, but that is the question here. What do I do? Do I um, go and open up the battery and say, listen, do me a favor and send me the 80 amp BMS, and do I have the same range? Obviously not going to happen, because if I'm doing, let's say right now, 48, 50 miles an hour for 44-mile distance, and now I'm bringing up my top speed to, let's say, 56, 60, and let's say I keep it at that speed, am I going to achieve the same distance of 44 miles in distance, which is physically and mathematically just impossible. So we are going to lose distance. I don't intend to do 56 or 60 miles an hour all the time, but I have few stretches where it will be nice to do that. Uh, 60 miles an hour speed. Would it be necessary? No, it's just the thought behind it that you're capable of doing so. let's say, when I have to get like on a highway for two exits, it'll be nice to hit the 60, just to keep up with the traffic. So no, it's not necessary. It's nothing to kill yourself for, but it's just kind of awkward. Let me put my keys away, guys. I'm gonna be right back. I gotta get something to drink. I'm actually really thirsty, which is a pain. I don't even know where my dog is. That's completely crazy. So, sorry guys, my throat is killing me because I talk too much, I guess. But I know this video is really long, and I guess I gotta kind of like stop with it, you know. Ah, man, that was good. Anyway, let me double check how many minutes I guess on this video because it's getting really long. 21 minutes. Um, we're gonna wrap it up because um, I have I have a problem. I have a problem, and I'm counting on you guys to give me your opinion. At the end of the day, we build the bike, we build it all together. You guys follow me. Um, I got a racer guy. I got a real estate student. I got a few guys from UK. I got a few guys from Poland. They keep watching my videos and they pumping me up. Do this, do that, get this done, and all that. And I believe the real estate student, when I hesitated with the battery, said maybe I get the 60-volt battery, 60 amp hour, uh, system. He says, dude, if you go all the way in, go with the 72 and whatever, 30, 40, 50. So originally I thought about 60 just because it was 60 amp hour. So it would give me a great distance, but it would deplete really fast with this bike because it's heavy and I'm heavy. Then we I talked, and real estate student was like, okay, why don't you just go with the 72 because you don't waste your money and your time. So I went with the 72. At first I was looking at 30 amp hours, then at 41s, and then I saw 50, and I was like, holy crap, I got to get the 50. But now again, you know, the story behind my first battery from China is that I waited 6 months and I had to open a dispute because I never received it. And fucking thing was stuck in LA and then it was resent to the seller. So it was a big fucking problem, a big issue. And it screwed me over because this system would have been extremely strong with that 150 amp discharge on the battery because that's originally what I was getting. So 40 amp hour, 150 amp discharge. Um, would I get 44 miles? No, but I would get 30 miles, and that would be good enough for me to win, 76 miles an hour. But again, you know, when 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 this goes, I'll hopefully you guys give me advice and kind of lead me over to the 80 amp BMS and get it changed. Hopefully get a plug and play, but I got no problem soldering and doing things, so that could be accomplished very easily. So hopefully I change the 80 amp, and once I notice that the battery is depleting, maybe you know you know put 150 amp just for the heck of it for half a season or whatever, and while I wait for a new battery, which again the the, the idea in my heart is to get a 70 amp hour 96 volt or 100 amp hour 96 volt battery because they're cheaper than 72. The 72 is very popular. Or get the 72 amp hour battery, 70 amp hour, that fits directly into this belly and I don't have to modify it. Where with the 100 amp hour 96 volts, I would have to have it sticking out this way, which for me is not a problem. Just little modification, welding, and things like that. In regards of welding, blah blah blah. I have idea how to do it. I just have to have a welding machine. Get that, um, probably from Harbor Freight, and the cheapest one that warms up to like whatever 600 degrees and work with that, and weld pieces, support brackets on the top at the bottom, and call it a day. So that would be a wet dream magic thing where I have 100 amp hour battery at 96 volts, and this fucking thing's a beast. It's a rocket, and I never have to do anything. Uh, and I would be reinforcing the frame. Now, second thing is to abuse this when the battery goes bad. Uh, Change the frame, change the motor into 15,000 watts, and then go that way. Because honestly, if I have 150 amps, this motor is not going to go too long. It's going to go out. So I can get the Q275 or the 15,000 watts, rear hub motor, and go extreme. But before we go to extreme, I would rather change the uh, the frame into plastic. And we'll talk about our next video whether we should get or should we consider plastic, steel, or this Ali frame. Uh, that's going to be the next video. So hopefully you guys will share, subscribe, give it a little thumb up. Uh, tell your friends about the channel, and hopefully you guys will kind of convince me of going with the new BMS. I don't know. Comment down below and try to convince me. All right? Take care.